Hi, this is Pam, 21st Century After-School Program at Connors Elementary School. Today we are on our next field trip. Our field trip today is to Indian Island in Old Town, Maine. It's one of the reservations in Maine. It's called the Penobscot Nation, and behind me is the island. It's gorgeous. We were just over there and it's amazing. You'll see some awesome things. The other two will be the two Passamaquoddy reservations, and one is in Peter Dana Point and one is in Princeton. Thank you. Hope you enjoy.
The Wabanaki Confederacy controlled much of New England and Canadian Maritimes, including Abenaki, Penobscot, and Passamaquoddy. All tribes have used Mount Katahdin as a sacred place. They honor their ancestors through this. Penobscots were original natives of Maine and still live in Old Town, Maine. Penobscot Nation owns its own government, laws, police, services like a small country. Indian Island is in the middle of the Penobscot River. Princess Washatasso's Lighthouse Teepee started in 1947 as a family museum and shop selling native baskets. This is Princess Irene in 1912. Penobscot and all tribes are citizens and must obey American law. The leader of the tribe is called a Sagma. Loring, or Big Thunder, was a performer, producer, or promoter of Indian entertainments, and his name was in dozens of newspapers. Beautiful roadside building overlooking Penobscot River. Henry David Thoreau. Henry David Thoreau wrote about his Indian friends. The Indian sees the great spirit of everything, he said. Native birch-bark canoes ferried Thoreau around in 1853 and 1857 were among the finest built. Birch-bark canoe. Ever tried to paddle a canoe? It's fun. War Memorial of Penobscot Native Americans who fought for our country. This is the start of a walk through the woods, statue known only to the natives what it means. This is an entrance to the outside circle and is used for sacred ceremonies, meetings, powwows, drumming, dancing, maybe more, but we really don't know. Nature is very important to the people. And statues at the end of the walk. Again, we don't know what they are or what they were for, but it must have meant something to them. Museum was not open because of the COVID, but we bet it's amazing. Like many Native Americans, Penobscot mothers carry their babies in cradle boards on their backs, a custom of which many American parents have now adopted. Penobscot Indians lived in wigwams, typically an arched framework of poles overlaid with bark, mats, or hides. Penobscots moved to summer hunting and fishing grounds. They live in tents out of bark. Penobscot women were farmers and did most of the child care and cooking. This woman is grinding corn for flour. Fiddleheads are grown many places in Maine. Know where to and how to collect fiddleheads at the right time. Both genders took part in storytelling, artwork, music, and traditional medicine. Gorgeous baskets made out of sweetgrass, brown ash, and birch bark. These materials grow in the wetlands. Overland, the Penobscot used dogs as pack animals. There were no horses in North America until the colonists brought them over. Penobscots were hunters and warriors. They trapped, fished, and hunted to collect their food. Chipped stone pointers date back 4,000 to 6,000 years old. Small points have been found in Brooklyn, Maine. Native men passed on their knowledge of animals lived and how to trap them. The Penobscot traded with all other New England Indians and often fought with the powerful Iroquois. But their most important neighbors were Abenaki, Penobscot, Maliseet, and Micmac. We drove north to see the river, the houses, and the people. The Indian Lands Claim Act, when passed, allowed Native Americans money for better houses. We saw a few kids playing outside, playing a game. Louis Sockalexis, the first American Indian Major League Baseball player, was Penobscot. He was so strong he could throw a baseball across the Penobscot River. He had a remarkable season for the Cleveland Spiders in 1897. This is a great book about this ball player. Another good book is this, Arrow Over the Door. It's the lives of two Indian boys in New England. The Penobscot River is contaminated with mercury and dioxin pollution from the logging and industrial plants. This is a problem for everyone in Maine, especially the Penobscot tribe, because they rely on the river for their traditional way of life. If Penobscot people continue fishing in the river, they can become very sick. If they stop fishing, they'll lose an important part of their culture. The Penobscot tribe really want the river to be cleaned up, but it is controlled by the state, so they're pretty frustrated. A Passamaquoddy prayer. The earth is our mother. We treat the earth as sacred. Nobody owns the earth. Everything we need I get from the earth. Food, water, seeds for planting. We think of the earth as our mother. The earth is our home. The earth is our home. Passamaquoddy are called people of the dawn. Why? Because they see the dawn first every day. Pleasant Point, Eastport, Maine is one of two Passamaquoddy reservations. The second is Dana Point. Passamaquoddy is pronounced Passamaquoddy. It comes from the tribe's native name, which refers to a traditional way of catching a pollock. Land has always been the people's most valuable possession, providing the base for their existence, religion, and society. Decisions for the tribe are made here. Passamaquoddy here at Pleasant Point call themselves Sipiekek. Road to Pleasant Point. Passamaquoddy and the governor of Maine in Portland in a canoe. Really? It happened. Passamaquoddy have hunted, fished, and lived in eastern Maine for at least 13,000 years. Fish is still important to their diet today. People supporting their nation. Tribal rep to the Maine House of Representatives is elected every 4 years, candidates alternating between both points. Both reservations vote in the election. A princess. Photo of people of the past. Since the Indian lands claim, the Passamaquoddy now own more than 200,000 acres of land. Fishermen of today. People used snowshoes. There were few cars and trucks back then. This is a snake dance and a powwow. Dana Point Reservation is north, moving up Route 1 past Calix. Joseph Tomo was a Passamaquoddy, created delicate images on bark. Through his artwork, he told and retold and recorded the transitions of his ancestors. He did not live on Dana Point all year. They traveled by canoe down rivers into Passamaquoddy Bay and to Campobello Island. He spent summers gathering medicinal plants, blueberries, and sweetgrass. The Roosevelt family lived on Campobello Island summers, and Toma was asked to teach this 10-year-old boy to canoe. The friendship between an Indian elder, Thomas Joseph, and a 10-year-old rich kid would change the way Native Americans were treated by the U.S. for the better. That man became the President of the United States, President Roosevelt. This is a picture of Thomas Joseph. A beautiful box Thomas Joseph made. And a picture that Thomas Joseph paddled. It's Passamaquoddy Bay. Passamaquoddy people moved around a lot as they collected food for their families. They would travel to the coast in summertime to fish, hunt porpoise, plant corn, and then back inland during the winter to hunt game. Porpoises travel from Maine to North Carolina. Do you know the difference between a dolphin and a porpoise? Dolphins have long beaks and cone-shaped teeth, while porpoises have smaller mouths and spade-shaped teeth. Dolphins have hooked dorsal fin, while a porpoise has a triangular fin, and porpoises are more chunky. The Passamaquoddy also gathered berries and wild plants to eat and made maple syrup from tree sap. Maple products for sale. And this is tapping maple trees for the sap. And maple syrup. Much work went into art, crafts. It was very important to tell stories that they could be passed down. There is no written language. Modern theater. Passamaquoddy Players. Wayne Newell and Blanche Sockabasin performed songs and stories from Passamaquoddy culture. A recording of a concert at the Library of Congress, 9609. Many Passamaquoddy were born before 1960 could speak Passamaquoddy language, but the people were worried that the language would die out. Wayne Newell and a group got together and wrote a publication called A Passamaquoddy Maliseet Dictionary. A picture of a book, I Know How to Speak Indian, Book 1, Passamaquoddy Maliseet. There are lots of traditional Passamaquoddy legends and fairy tales. Here is one, Gooselap, the culture hero of the Wabanaki tribes.